Hey everyone, it's Jerry at the Fledge. Welcome to another coding club at the Fledge. And today we've got Bob and David and Jeremy here. And welcome everybody. How y'all doing today?
Doing all right.
All right. So let's jump right in. Our kind of normal format is for Bob to start out with something that he wants to show us or teach us. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Bob.
Okay. Well, I've got a couple of IDEs to show, integrated development environments. All of them are free, and I'm going to pop it up right now. There we go. And oops, I've got to go back down and actually share my screen, don't I, before I do that?
Yep.
Okay. Share screen. Did it take it? No. Share screen, and here we go. Here's the first one. Oh. Select window or screen. Allow. Okay. Okay. Entire screen, and here we go.
So now I see why Bob said computer whisperer. I now can read your mask, Jeremy. All right, Bob, I'm waiting for you to share your screen.
It isn't shared yet?
No, sir, it's not.
Well, I thought I shared it.
You can do that before.
Allow. Okay, here we go.
All right. Got it.
Okay. So this is the simplest screen. This is what comes with your Python. I think it's referred to as idle. And I had a little piece of program here. I'm sort of trying to get myself up to speed and get some of the dust out between my ears, getting back into some Python. And I found a whole series of videos and code related to blockchain. So I figured I could kill two birds with one stone. Anyway, this is idle, and this is an example of how it looks and what it will do when you. Well, here I'll run it again. Where's my run on here file? Debug. No. Okay. Here we go. Blockchain run. Okay, so I've got this piece of code that I hauled in, and I run it. Run the module. Okay. And then what this does is it just has you enter three different values, and then it puts them in a list, and then it keeps adding them to them. So here I'm going to put in 5, enter, 7, enter, 9, enter, and then it will print them out. And this is an extremely simple blockchain, as you guys probably are aware. And this is idle. That comes with, Python. If you just go out and download Python off the internet and put it in the system, this is what you get. Okay, I'm going to bring this down and this down. I'm going to now go to mu, which is very sort of a very simplified one, but a little bit beyond what idle is. This is also free. Just go out and Google mu, IDE or whatever, mu Python IDE, and you'll get this. Again, it's the same piece of code. It has a bunch of buttons up here. It's sort of simple. And I believe, and I haven't checked this out recently, but I believe you can change the way this looks up here. Like most of these environments will let you change. So I'm going to run this one as well, do the same thing. 5, enter, 7, enter, 9, enter, and then shows you those three entries as it builds this list, and it keeps the previous information and adds to it each time, which is an oversimplified example of what a blockchain is.
Okay.
Okay, now I'm going to go to Thani, which is another free one. So I'm going to just put this up here. Much the same. Now this one I know you can change it because I've been using this a little bit on a Raspberry Pi. So when I set it up, I chose it so it would look the same whether I was here or on my Raspberry Pi. So I'm going to run this one as well. So I'm going to do again 5, enter, 7, enter, 9, enter, and it does the same thing. By the way, this top part of it is the actual code that you're running. Okay, it is a program called blockchain, obviously.
So, you can use a text editor, right? And
yes. Well, you can
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
And write this code.
Yes.
And some text editors are better than others, right? Because you've got color coding in there and stuff like that we're starting to see. Why would somebody want to use an IDE if they had a text editor, a Notepad Plus?
Yeah. I've actually got this code in Notepad. For me, the reason you would use something like an IDE as opposed to just a Notepad is that it's, by its name, it's an integrated development environment. It has a code editor or an editor in it, but it also has a whole lot of other features like debuggers, and then you can single step through your code and things like that. So it's a lot easier to track down problems. That would be the main reason you would want. Now, I do have Notepad++, and it does all of the coloring and everything too. But for me, the reason I would want to use something like in any of these integrated environments is it has a lot more. And once you get used to it, I think it improves your ability to get things done a lot more quickly. Now, the next two I'm going to show you are a lot more sophisticated, but they're still free. You can go out and get this one, which is called PyCharm. It's PyCharm, isn't it? Yeah. And it has a commercial version of it, as well as a free version, a version that's open to the public for, quote, non-commercial use, which, I think it's reasonable that you would honor that if you're going to use it. And this one as well, let me see here, navigate code reactor, run, here we go. Up at the top is run, and then run blockchain. Now these have a lot more sophisticated features in them. And I'm not going to be able to get into that because I haven't used either of these fancier ones. I just, in fact, downloaded these today. And when Jerry asked if I had anything to share, I said, well, yeah, I can sort of run through these for a minute and hopefully. But here we go. Pretty much the same results. They all have their own special little features. Sometimes there's a little bit more to set up to make sure you've got everything hooked in right with where your Python interpreter is and your path and everything else. There's a lot of little things like that to set up and look at, but it also brings in a whole lot of other features that you're not going to have with some of the simpler ones or just a regular code editor. Now that's PyCharm. And then this one is the Visual Studio Code. And if you pull in Visual Studio Code, or I mean, not if you pull it in, if you go out and search for it on the internet, you're going to find it, and it's a free version as well. Now here I need to get a new file, and I think I've still got that stuff in my buffer. There we go. And then we can run it. Can I move this turkey down a little bit? So, no, it's not going to let me. My stop sharing. Okay, here we go. And it's going to show you a whole bunch of baloney down here.
How's it going, Bob?
Well, it's going good. It's just that the thing. Maybe I can move this. Oh, I can. Okay. The stop sharing thing was right in the middle of where things were. It says initializing untitled blockchain. What? It's not empty. Blockchain append. Da-da-da-da. Okay, yeah, that's what we're doing. Okay, this one, I guess I'm going to have to, maybe if I click run again.
If it's any consolation, I'll be compiling in VS Code right after in my demonstration.
Okay.
All right. So I think we get a small awareness of IDEs, right? We kind of get the point that, working in that environment, we see something happening. Thank you, Bob.
Yes.
And, you want to do more than Notepad. You want to have this integrated stuff. You want to be able to move things around easily, use your code, because it's one thing to write Python. How do you put it on a website? How do you put it into an application? How do you distribute it? So I think that's a good first overview for us.
Right.
You agree with that, Bob?
Yeah, basically the last two that I showed you here, and they're much more sophisticated, but there's also a little bit more to getting used to using them and running them. And I have to confess that I had never used either of these before today. So I'm embarrassed that I didn't get all of them to run perfectly, but I'll learn to live with it. I've used this one and this one a number of times, and I feel familiar with them, and they get the job done for most of the stuff I'm trying to do. But I think I'm going to spend a little bit more time learning how to use these because they are a little bit more sophisticated. So, and I guess that's, unless anybody has questions or wants me to go back to anything, I can stop sharing and go back to the normal setup.
Okay.
I'd like to say that PyCharm looks like it's a product built from trying to think of whoever makes IntelliJ. It looks like it's just kind of like they did with Android Studio. An IntelliJ version primed for, Python development. Like Android Studio, if you actually downloaded that, that's another version of IntelliJ that's geared towards Android development. And IDEs, like they are integrated development environments, are great for like Android development, because you can debug. You can plug a USB into your phone. You can debug on your phone. You can pause, and you'll be controlling your phone application running natively.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
there's extensions and stuff to go with that. I've used IntelliJ, what PyCharm's built on, professionally for quite a few years. So there's lots of cool features. Um, Source code peeking, you can hover over something and it'll give you like the definition of the function you're looking at. Or if you hold Alt, you can follow that reference, and click on something and it'll take you to like wherever you might call add value. If you found somewhere, you could hold Alt and click on add value in IntelliJ and it'll take you to the def add value function. Um, it might be Alt or Control, but there's a lot of cool hidden features and a lot of cool integrations you can do with um, your IDE. One of the biggest features, I think, of IntelliJ or most people use in IDEs is refactoring tools. When you have to make a large scale code change that, you're just changing the name of something, but it appears 100
Oh,
times in your code.
yep.
Those are some of the more powerful tools in IDEs.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, Bob.
You bet.
And I'm going to take that off the screen.
Okay. And
And
I'm going to stop sharing. So here I am again.
all right. Welcome back.
Okay.
You've been here the whole time, though. We saw your face and all that stuff.
No way. Not
Yeah.
even when I was looking like I couldn't figure out what was going on. Sorry about that.
We're all on that spectrum, man. So, which one me to put on the screen first, David?
You can put my screen on the screen first. I'll switch over to something so it's not just me looking at us. Just let me know when you do it, and I'll
I
start
did it.
going over. All right. So one thing I did recently is I didn't buy, I upgraded my 3D printer. As part of upgrading it, I had some problems. By upgrading it, I replaced all the like hardware components, the motor driver, the thing that actually sends a signal to the motors that tells it what to move, and the screen that it uses that the human interfaces with. And then I added something called the BL Touch, and that helps me auto level my bed. If you get into 3D printing, one of the biggest things you're gonna hate doing is leveling your bed.
Amen.
Yeah. So those are the upgrades I got, but out of the box, the firmware that came with it would not work for me. Like I had problems doing my Z homing. If you're unfamiliar with Z homing is, your head needs to find where 0 point is, where it's actually touching your print bed is, before you can start printing. My problem was it would go up to do the Z homing and navigate to where it would go probe for, and it would move down, but it would never move down farther than where it started. So it couldn't find that gap that it needed to fill to be able to auto home.
Huh.
So I had to end up compiling my own firmware. Um, To do so, I used VS Code. I followed a tutorial online, to be honest. Firmware is not my forte. Programming is. So one thing about firmware too is when you build firmware, you're very conscious of how big your target is. So what I mean by target, there's that driver board in there. That driver board only has 512 kilobytes of storage completely. Like if I go over 1 byte on that, my firmware will not load.
Right.
So you're very restricted by the size of the firmware. So one thing you need to do is when you compile your firmware is you can't include source code for features you're not going to use or need. So that's kind of why I had to compile it. I needed to enable some features and disable some other. Not that the size was an issue. I just wanted to give you a little bit of background on that. One of the features that I had to do is the software. Let's see if I can find it. I won't be able to find it there. So um, this is the master of this current source code project, and I'm gonna make my text a little bigger.
Well, there you go. Yeah,
So
we can read it now.
right now, I'm a master of what I pulled out from the sourcery that they provide for Marlin for this specific hardware. So I created a feature branch for myself so I wouldn't lose my changes, and so I could demo this. Get diff master. So these are the changes I did. I changed the name of my printer. So I went in and I changed in the source code file oh, you guys can't read this text either, can you?
No.
I don't know how to make this bigger right off the top of my head. I'm sorry about that. So you can't,
That's all right. That's all
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But you can read this, and there's a custom name. I changed that. Um, One of the big ones I changed is this one. So when you plug your BL Touch probe in, there's usually an end stop that gets triggered. You actually unplug that when you get your BL Touch probe, and you can plug your BL Touch into that. But I didn't. I actually went a different route. So I needed to change this so it knew where that end stop communication would be coming from, knowing I'm using a probe. Actually, I commented this out because usually it would have used that end stop pin. So this is pretty much telling it don't use that pinning. Um, and I had to tell it to use the Z home or the probe, my new BL Touch, for doing the Z homing. And then this line right here, define BL Touch, that is added to tell it I have a BL Touch. These are the offsets for where the BL Touch is installed relative to my printer head. So it's 47 millimeters to the left of it and 8 millimeters back from it, and then it's up 1.85 millimeters. It's actually up a little bit more, but I fine-tuned that on the 3D printer itself. Um, this is the one, well, not that one. I thought I was zoom or scrolling the right way. There should have been one more about a software end stop. Um, but regardless, I did that. I came into my visual code here. I had to use something called Platform IO to be able to compile this. The reason why I had to use a Platform IO is I have a Windows computer. It's 64-bit and it's an x86 computer. When I compile, I'm generally compiling for x86 or 32-bit computers. This computer is actually ARM-based. The hardware, the driver computer that I built this firmware for is ARM-based. So I can't actually compile for that very easily. So I had to use something called Platform IO. You can't really see it in the bottom right. But it's a module that was installed. You actually can, right here in Visual Studio, you can go into your preferences, I think it is. It might have been its extensions. But you just come in here and there should have been in here, it installed all this stuff. There's a setting for the platform IO, so you can install that. Um, really cool. Just to get over with that part, I'm going to just go compile right here. There's a checkbox right down here at the bottom. Kind of caught me off guard because it was such a small thing to click to compile. If you could read this, it says it's scanning for dependencies and it's doing its normal build thing. This takes about 30 seconds to build. But then I get a firmware bin, I load it on an SD card, and all I have to do is pop the SD card in my 3D printer and reset the 3D printer. And if there's a firmware on there, it will automatically update my firmware. That was one of the advantages of me updating the hardware, because before, to update my firmware, I would have to take my laptop, go over there, plug it into USB cable. I would have to get out some software that connects with my printer, and then I would have to use my computer to flash the hardware. And I was testing a lot of firmwares, and moving my laptop all the time is hard. I got like wall mounts. So I don't really have much coding to show you, but I'm going to walk over by my 3D printer and just kind of, I don't know what you can see. So I'm going to actually, if you want to switch this screen off, I'm going to use this so I can at least see what you guys are seeing.
All right. Do you want me to put the other screen on?
Yeah, I'm walking right over by my 3D printer right now. So I was hoping, and he's still got my screen share going.
Oh, shit. I'm trying.
Let me stop my screen share. I don't think I'll need that anymore.
I screwed up your other screen.
Oh, no.
I pulled you out. So, real quick, though, you might have to... Is that going to screw you all up?
No, I'm rejoining it right now. It'll only take me a few seconds.
Quinn is out in the crowd today and was asking what all this is for. Because I think he might have missed the very beginning there.
Okay.
And do you want to go through that real quick with him? Why you did that?
So I was compiling this firmware. I see I'm not on screen, but
There we go.
yeah, so here you go. You can kind of see me. The camera's pointing at my 3D printer. This firmware was compiled for my specific hardware for the 3D printer. Here's the part one of the parts I actually replaced. This is the driver board for a 3D printer. Up through here, these are where each one of your stepper motors connect. And then you have stuff called Z-stops, and they connect through here. X-stop, Z-stop, your fan, and some lighting and some other stuff. And then your main power comes in here from a 12-volt power supply, or here, I can't really remember which one. So I upgraded this, and the new part actually has upgraded drivers. If my 3D printer was running, other than the fan noise, it's quiet now. If you've experienced 3D printers, they have a lot of whining, like if you've ever watched Flopatron, um, it sounds like that, a lot of whining when it moves across, forward, backwards. I was hoping my print would still be going when I demoed this. That's why I set up this whole camera in the first place. Um, but the new drivers in that hardware actually made this thing quiet. So when I move and access, there's no whining. All I hear is my fans and maybe a little bit of the tread that drives these. Another thing I replaced on here is the stock display. And this replaced the Marlin interface. So instead of it being lines of text and me scrolling through to be able to select stuff and pushing a push button here to select things, I'm going to move my camera for a second. Hopefully you can see this. Now I have a nice touch interface. I actually have it preheated right now to do another print. But it's a lot easier to navigate, mainly when I want to move my bed up or down. You really can't see it all that much, but I can just hit these buttons and move it a lot easier than navigating through menus, going back, as well. The auto leveling and stuff became a lot easier. So really, I don't have much other to demo on this other than it was an upgrade to make my motors quieter. It was the screen, and the other part that houses the computers is down here. I could show off some stuff I'm printing. Another upgrade I'm doing is a cable chain for my bed. So that'll help protect my cables after I watched some YouTube videos and seen somebody print something and actually get their cables stuck in their print. I thought it was time to get one of these.
Yeah.
I printed a little ghost thing. It's actually half a ghost on this one. It's a little ghost thing, and then here's the other half. And this is really cool because you put it on a window, and then it looks like it's going through the window.
Oh, nice.
So that was kind of cool one. Another thing would be, this isn't that great. I haven't built the other part. And this print quality on this one, I printed at draft quality with a 1 mm or a 0.8 millimeter head. It did not come out very well, but this is actually for a hexagonal wall mount. So there'll be a bunch of these mounted together, and there's a flat plate, and then there'll be, it'll make a hexagon, but it's a little shelf. And then I'll pop off what I have on my plate right now to show you. You guys will probably like this. Oh, it's on there good.
Should have done it faster, huh?
Yep. Yeah, and this was a 4-hour print, so it took about 4 hours to make this. I don't know if you guys can tell yet what this is. Well, here's some of it. It's got some supports on it. Here's the bottom of it. I don't know if it's coming together yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's a little visor that'll go on him. You can't really see it, but it's a little visor that goes on him. So it's a little Among Us guy, but this one's kind of cool because let me rip out the support there. It's got this little piece. I can't get it off, but there'll be a little bone here. So this is the little dude that gets killed. And I'm going to get that all painted up and cool, looking cool. But yeah, that's about all. Like, really, the upgrade made everything quiet on this. I can run this while sleeping because before, every once in a while, it would sound like an alarm going off because of the noise the motors made. Now all I hear is a constant fan noise, and a lot of people just want fan noise just to sleep. So that's about it. Yeah.
So is that Minions?
No, Among Us.
Among Us.
It's a game where 1 or 2 people are considered suspect, and nobody knows who they are. And it's a multiplayer game, and then you can call a meeting, and you got to vote who the imposter is. And if you get it wrong, you eject somebody that's innocent out of your spaceship. You're trying to figure out who's going around killing people, and the imposter has to try killing everybody before getting discovered.
Man, I watch these guys on Twitch play that, but it was on. Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. My grandkids had me watching that, and it was fascinating actually.
It is
Um,
because it's a social experience, you know. You're not just playing a game. You're interacting with people. You're learning how to lie. You're learning how to problem solve and deduct things that would identify the person. So it's a cool little game, I think.
yeah. So I'm gonna take your printer off the
Yep.
screen, and so, oops, let me get us all
Yeah, there you go.
had Bob featured for a
Yeah.
second. Um, so David, thank you very much. I think that's there's another uh, reason to learn how to code. I mean, you buy all this hardware, you can't get it to work together, and you go out to Git or GitHub or where you're going to get, and pull that down, revise it for your new hardware, compile it yourself, and you're not out there buying it from Amazon or something. Not that they sell that, but very cool, David. Very
Yeah,
cool.
thank you.
So, and a lot of use of an IDE there with what you were doing, and source control. We should probably go through source and version control sometime too. Um, Anything you want to add, Jeremy? Don't mean to put you on the spot. You can shake your head if you don't feel like okay. And then the other thing is, I can't find who you are on the Fledge community, David, because it's not your name, I don't think.
It's probably going to be Kindred Soul.
Okay, all right. I think it's just Kindred
It could be just
on
Kindred.
there.
Yeah.
All right, so now I got you. And I sent Jeremy and Bob 10 Fledge coin for being on the screen here with us today and presenting. So thank you very much. And I'll take that up with you, David. And we have released Fledge coin out on the Fledge community. I'm putting that in the, oops. Oh, I spelled it right. So go sign up for an account there and get involved in developing whatever that's going to turn out to be. It is not for speculation. It is not Bitcoin. It is not Ethereum. It just uses that technology to track some stuff. So, any comments on that?
Is it tradable?
You mean like on an exchange?
Yeah. Well,
No,
not
no.
explicitly in exchange. Tradable. Can I send Bob some? And do I
Yes.
have a wallet?
You have a wallet. You
All
can
right.
send Bob some, and there's a marketplace. So you can buy art, you can buy tinctures, you can buy. I have a HostGator account. So if anybody
Okay.
wants to host their website with us, I will take Fledge coin for that. And more is being added every day. So the idea is to create a marketplace and a Fledge coin where we can barter and track that with each other and see where it goes.
I think that'll be really cool. It's kind of got me wanting to start up a little shop just to sell some small little 3D printed parts. Just to, if you know anything about Bitcoin or any kind of coin like that, you want to get in early. So I want to get as much of it as I can now.
All right, so David's going to be the guy to go to in 10 years from now. Hey, man, that Fledge coin's worth $1 million. No, I can't even say that. I shouldn't even be talking like that. Do not speculate with Fledge coin. It's a utilitarian coin right now, and it is to help strengthen our community and see what our community needs. So I think this was a great one. Thank you so much, guys, for being on the screen and presenting things. And everyone out in the crowd, we'll see you next week.
Can we sell anything on there?
Basically, it's not Silk Road.
I got a whole basement full of stuff that my wife would be appreciative if I got rid of. So I might have to set up a shop as well.
I think it would be awesome if you, instead of donating it to us, sell it on the marketplace for Fledge coin. It's the same. It's going to people that would be the same people we might be giving it to, but now, we're getting closer in our relationships. So, All right. And we'll also, I think, in the next couple of weeks be announcing some more workshop type stuff where maybe we actually go on and write some code and work together. And that might be the people on the screen. It might be a whole different other thing. So I'll probably be putting a Zoom meeting together where we get and discuss and start talking about actually letting people participate, write some code, and really work pairing. I like David used that phrase, comes from the agile world, actually comes from XP and extreme programming back in the late 90s. So, all right. Love y'all. Thanks for coming. And I will see you later. I guess my sign languaging is trickling into all my other shows. So see you, crowd.